Understanding the corporation as a separate legal person. When business owners decide to incorporate a business in the United States, whether under state law in business-friendly jurisdictions like Delaware or their own home state, they are doing something far more significant than simply registering a fictitious business name or DBA. They are creating a completely new entity. In American law, a corporation is recognized as a separate legal person. This means that from the moment the articles of incorporation are filed with the Secretary of State and the corporate charter is issued, the corporation exists as a distinct legal entity, completely separate from its shareholders, directors, and officers. This foundational principle is deeply rooted in American legal history. In the landmark 1819 case, Trustee of Dartmouth College versus Woodward, the United States Supreme Court famously declared that a corporation is an artificial being, invisible, intangible, and existing only in contemplation of law. Over the centuries, American courts have consistently reaffirmed this precedent, establishing that a corporation possesses its own distinct legal capacity, rights, and responsibilities. Essentially, the law treats a corporation the same way it treats an individual human being in terms of legal functionality. Because it is a separate legal person, a corporation can enter into legally binding contracts in its own name, acquire, own, hold, and sell real estate and other property, incur debts, issue bonds, and borrow money from financial institutions, sue other parties, and conversely, be sued in a court of law. The most significant practical consequence of the separate legal personality is the concept of limited liability. Because the corporation is its own person, the debts and obligations incurred by the business belong to the corporation alone. They do not belong to the individuals who own the shares or run the day-to-day operations. If a corporation encounters financial distress or faces a major commercial lawsuit, the financial exposure of the shareholders is generally limited to the amount they have invested in buying their stock. Personal assets, such as a primary residence, personal bank accounts, or personal investments, are legally protected from corporate creditors. This legal separation is often referred to as a corporate veil. However, individuals must be wary of contracting out of this protection and assuming personal liability through personal guarantees, co-signing loans, or signing indemnification agreements. Beyond limited liability, this separate legal personality introduces two other critical financial and legal realities: separate taxation and perpetual existence. First, from a tax perspective, a standard corporation, known as a C-Corporation, files its own distinct federal and state corporate tax returns and pays corporate income tax on its profits, completely separate from the personal income tax returns of its owners. Second, a corporation possesses perpetual existence. Human beings have limited lifespans, but a corporation can theoretically exist forever. The death, bankruptcy, or retirement of a shareholder, director, or officer does not dissolve the entity. Stock is simply transferred or inherited, and the corporation continues to operate uninterrupted, providing long-term stability for commercial operations, commercial leases, and ongoing contracts. While this separate legal personality offers robust protection, it is not absolute. American courts can, under specific and narrow circumstances, pierce the corporate veil. This typically occurs if the corporate structure is used to perpetuate fraud, if the owners fail to maintain basic corporate formalities, such as holding annual meetings and keeping separate bank accounts, or where directors face statutory personal liability, such as for unpaid federal payroll taxes or severe environmental infractions. However, for day-to-day commercial operations, the separate legal person remains the cornerstone of American corporate law, enabling effective risk management, structured tax planning, and seamless business continuity. To learn more about our law firm's international corporate legal practice, we welcome you to visit our website and contact our law firm to schedule an initial consultation. Thank you.